If I finish a poem and I think, well, that's pretty much what I set out to do, then that's a big disappointment. That tends to be bad news. That tends to be a poem I throw away. Whereas if I ever write something good, then my feeling about it is, for the most part, like, I don't recognize who wrote that. I like that's it's not that I don't, it's not that I have an amnesia, but I think, like, I don't know how to do the things that are good in that poem. A good writer at his best is better than himself. I tend to start with a line some with a sense of the aural shape of this is how it ought to sort of sound. This is how the mood it ought to produce. And maybe there's some little notes. Maybe there's a particular image, there's a particular phrase that feels essential. And then I let the poem help me decide how to write it. I mean, one of the problems, I think I don't have any great original ideas or wonderful expressions, or I don't think I especially have much to say. And it's the mechanism of poetry that can generate thoughts and connections that I would never produce on my own. I went recently from a long nonfiction prose project to a long fiction prose project. And in between, I sat down and said, I really need to just write poems for a while. The idea that an encounter with a new format or medium or subject is important and maybe even essential to fruitful creative generation rings terrifyingly true to me. There's a pace one comes to recognize in chemical reactions, where in the beginning is violent and chaotic. And then there's this sort of rich overflow when the two substances sort of fully encounter each other. And then there's this sort of popping, fizzing last bits and traces. And that has made me wary of sticking too long with one medium without at least rotating the crops, to mix my metaphors. I was thrilled to find out that I would be reading alongside Alan Shapiro at the Newburyport Festival. He is one of the most funny and charming off the cuff speakers in real life that I've ever met. And with Alan, it's all delightful. It's all witty. It's all extremely human. And it's all memorable and touching.